Alright folks, this one's a long one. I'm going to have to chop it up. So this won't post for a while. But I have to get this off my chest. After 13 service members died in Afghanistan, I'm hearing reports today, the day before Labor Day, 5 sailors have died. After watching the hair sniffer in chief check his watch. No, snowflakes, it was not his son's rosary. That was an iWatch. 13 times as flag-draped coffins came out of a plane. We're now watching as the Democrats in D.C. are dedicated to fighting a law in Texas that says you cannot abort a child after the heartbeat is detected. Roe v. Wade is not a law. Roe v. Wade is a court case. You want to talk about violating Roe v. Wade, the only person who can do that is a judge, by ruling that Roe v. Wade is not a court precedent. There is no law. It's that simple. You want an example of where a law came from a court case? Look up Miranda versus Arizona. I believe it was Arizona. That court case where someone sued the police because they were not told, they didn't have to talk, resulted in, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed for you, and so on and so forth. That's a law, Miranda. Those have to be read. Abortion is not a law. It's a court case precedent. And it is that simple. And here's the thing. It does not say that there is a bounty on women's heads who travel out of state or who still get an abortion in the state of Texas. What it says is that as Texans, we as the person providing transportation or as the provider within the state of Texas can be sued. You see, that's where they're attacking. It's the same crap they tried a couple of decades ago. And they won a couple of decades ago. The law in question stated that any person transporting any minor child across state lines for the purpose of a medical procedure of any level is guilty of a crime. Braces when the parents didn't want them, rhinoplasty, whatever, any medical procedure. Now, of course, the Democrats fought it, saying it's not about rhinoplasty, it's not about getting braces. They're saying you can't get an abortion. They ignored the fact that it was someone transporting a minor child. They always ignore that. They always ignore the simple facts. Because, as I've said before, these are the people who read Huxley, Bradbury, and Orwell and agreed that those are the worlds we should strive for, not those are the worlds we should avoid at all cost. But they don't care that we see them in the open now. Pelosi openly blocks the names of the 13 we lost in Afghanistan being read on the floor of Congress. But she's fine letting the Washington D.C. Democrats devote their time to ordering the state to obey them. I guess she's forgotten about that pesky little constitution she swore an oath to. Part of it saying, all power not delegated to the state, the federal government, is reserved for the people, the states. Basically saying Washington has no power to say, you can't make that law. You can't make that law. Stop making laws for yourself. We are the only ones. Stop making laws. They have no ability to do that. It's unconstitutional. But they don't care. They didn't care that the ACA was unconstitutional because it was a tax that originated in the Senate. Because they had their pets on SCOTUS who knew that their actual job was to find a way to make things constitutional, which is not true. Their job is to interpret the Constitution as it pertains to laws and state whether a law is or is not constitutional. Not state, well, if we twist this word, take this word out, redefine this entire sentence, then it's all constitutional. That is where the snowball started. When the Democrats stopped hiding that they put people on the Supreme Court to change the country. Barack Obama lamented the fact that he was unable to fundamentally change the country because the founders put in place a system that stopped him from doing so. He openly stated at I believe, UN conference that people are too stupid to manage their lives. Folks, if you don't see that the Democrats and that the left hates freedom and wants to rule you, whether you obey them already or not, you will be subjugated under their iron boot. If you don't see that already, then there's nothing any of us can do to wake you up. There will come a day when they win. And it will only be for a short time, because there is someone in this universe that not even the Democrats can beat, because you can't cheat against God. God shows up and says, kneel. They are forced to. And he says, these are your deeds. How do you plead? There is no, I didn't do that. That's a lie. There's none of that, because they will know who they're facing. But for that short time where they're in full control, it will be hell on earth. They will begin their eugenics. They will begin we've detected your child has Down syndrome. We've already injected the abortive drug. You'll have a miscarriage within 3 weeks. They won't give mothers and fathers the chance. They won't let them say, but I will raise that child and love that child. I already love my child. Nope, we've already started it. We don't allow Down syndrome in our world anymore. Notice it's always liberals asking, should birth defects be a precursor to abortion all the time? Now, of course, they always couch it as, this child would live a horrible life, and it's just unkind to just make them suffer. I know people born without arms, born without legs. I know of a pair of twins joined in a way that they cannot be safely separated. Meaning they'll never get married, have kids of their own, any of that. They'll still live a happy life. I know of a gentleman who has no arms and no legs. He is a public speaker, motivational speaker, very successful. I know and know of many people with Down syndrome who live very, very fulfilling lives. And they're very happy. But you see, that doesn't matter to the Democrats. The Democrats look at history and say Hitler didn't go far enough. Stalin, Mao, Mussolini. They didn't go far enough. To them, they should go full bore. Any birth defect detected, you have no choice. We've already started the abortion process. You'll have a miscarriage in a couple of weeks. Oh, you didn't come to see a court-approved or government-approved doctor when you gave birth to a child with a birth defect? I'm sorry, that child was to be taken from you and killed for kindness, because it's not kind to make them live, and you will be going to jail. We heard through your Alexa dot last night, you called Nancy Pelosi names. That's why you're in prison. You're not allowed to do that. Why would you think that you can just say whatever you want? You know, we've seen the videos, TikTok, Clapper, Twitter, Instagram, and so on, where people are in their kitchen and they cough or sneeze, and you hear, "A cough has been detected. Please remain calm. Health professionals are on their way to assist you in quarantining." And the people just roll their eyes and start putting booze in a backpack. Folks, those days are coming. A virus with a 99.9% survival and recovery rate. A 99.9975% survival and recovery rate for the unvaccinated. Meaning both of those are 99.99. 0.999, really, when you round. Less than 1 in 100 people will suffer horrifically and die from this virus. But because they've managed to twist it, because they finally had enough push to make doctors say, no, it wasn't the gunshot wound to the head. It wasn't the 30-foot slide across pavement after being ejected from his vehicle due to a head-on crash. It wasn't the fire. They were all COVID. Birx admitted it on live TV. AOC is on video telling people that they should have their loved ones' death certificates changed to put COVID. She's telling them to do this, to go back and say, I don't believe that they really died of pneumonia. They died of COVID, and you need to put that down now. Folks, how anyone is unable to see that this world is being manipulated and everything is being twisted is beyond me. You know, teenagers, I can see, they're morons on their own. And they're taught by people who are dead set to change the world by teaching people wrongly. Remember, I told you, I've taught. I know what the state-approved curriculum is. I almost got fired 3 times because I would not openly say America started the slave trade. Let that sink in for a minute. Yes, I was told I would be fired if I deviated from curriculum again. I looked that principal in the eye and I said, so, the fact that I could personally call 6 different PhDs, all of whom teach at the university level, and ask them, when did the slave trade start? And they would tell me, when the Portuguese began to pick slaves up in Africa, being sold to the Portuguese by their neighboring tribes. The fact that all of them would agree means nothing to you. You kind of glared at me and said, the fact that I have a lawyer who loves history as much as I do, who will ensure you never work in this country again as an educator, means nothing to you. We're just trying to educate the children. You're just trying to lie to them. And I mean, this is the conversation I had. You're just trying to lie to them. You're openly telling them that the United States, after 1776, began traveling to Africa, stealing people out of their beds in the dead of night for slavery, which is untrue. The Portuguese and the East India Trading Company transported slaves long before the U.S. was even a notion in Washington or Jefferson's minds. For crying out loud, Disney canonized that. They confirmed it because that's why Jack Sparrow's marked a pirate. He chose to not transport slaves. And that happened before the U.S. was the U.S. They don't care anymore. And I had to threaten a lawsuit to keep my job. And I had students horribly confused. But sir, that's not what we were taught last year. I said, yeah, you were taught wrong last year. And tell your teacher from last year to come see me. Because I have a few original documents that I want them to read. Because they need to realize that when they teach the wrong information, they harm their students. And I had angry teachers contact me. How dare you say I was wrong? And I never buckled under. I said, how dare you teach that the slave trade started after 1776? It started in the late 1500s when the Portuguese saw money. Well, you just, and I said, and I wouldn't even let them talk. If you say I just don't know, if you say I'm just a racist, if you say I'm just a bigot, I will sue your school. Because you are harming students by teaching them wrong. Now, I'm going to hang up, but I'm going to monitor my students, and I'm going to give them a test every year. And any of them that say slavery started in 1776, I will be demanding to know who told them that. And I will be filing formal complaints. I'm never saying slavery was good. I'm never saying the U.S. is completely innocent in the history of the world of all wrongs. There are dark times in our past, dark things we've done. And I will never excuse them. But the absolute second someone says the U.S. is the only person or country on the planet that has ever done anything wrong, and to change it, we must become socialist, I'll fight that till the day I die. And I very, 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 very well realize that may end up being my cause of death. Shot by an angry snowflake because I refused to say, fine, you're right. It amazes me. In just 30 short years, the world is a complete mirror reflection of the world I was growing up in. You go back to 91, and you can see inklings of it. You really want to see the diametrically opposed bit, you go back to 81, 40 years. I was 4 years old. Ronald Reagan had just been elected, just taken office. We were in his 7th month at this point 40 years ago. And despite Democrat opposition, he was working to lower taxes, to strengthen the economy in any other way he could, and was doing a great job already. And Democrats hated it. Because every time a Republican gets into office and they lower taxes and they start helping the economy and America starts to get stronger, they hate it. Because it proves that they are the problem. That's why all they have are lies. It doesn't matter if he lowered your taxes. He's racist. It doesn't matter if you have a job because he got this company back. He's a bigot. It doesn't matter if your son or daughter is home and is not deployed. He's a transphobe. There is coming a day where it will be, it doesn't matter that we can't kill you because he's in power. He's a racist. Let us kill you. That day is coming when the Democrats just snap and the socialists just snap and openly say that they have a right to rule so they can kill whoever they want. They are that evil. And for crying out loud, if the mere statement that Joe Biden is a devout Catholic and he opposes this restriction on abortion, how a devout Catholic could ever even say abortion is anything but an utter evil act is beyond me. But my voice is getting tired. I'm a quarter mile from one of the best burgers in my area. I'm going to stop thinking about politics the rest of the day, folks. I am going to just relax.